We will be talking about gun control and the respect for the Second Amendment Act. In our slides, we will talk about the scope of the problem, major constituents, approaches to gun control, and proposed programs. Guns and mass shootings. Mass shootings have occurred in grocery stores, movie theaters, religious settings, schools, and even places such as banks as of recently. Guns have become the #1 cause of children deaths ages 1 through 18. Since the Columbine High School shooting in 1999, there has been 377 school shootings. In 2021, nearly 3,600 children's lives were taken due to guns. And not only are people's lives being taken, but students, teachers, members of the community, and parents as well are being affected. Respect for the Second Amendment Act. This act aims to fight for the protection of the Second Amendment, which is the right to bear arms. It also includes citizens who are independent of an organized militia. So what that means is that someone like me can buy a gun and carry a gun freely with having no training, no kind of knowledge on guns and the safety of guns, but I'll still be able to carry that. And the Respect for the Second Amendment Act basically focuses on the right to carry guns and the enjoyments that someone could have while carrying guns, although there's major risks to them. The scope of the problem. So who does this affect? Although many students' lives are being taken, not only are students being affected, but teachers and faculty, parents, and members of the community are also being affected in many different ways. And especially survivor's guilt is one of them. If there are people who have been through these shootings, they might experience PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety, and some may even turn to substance abuse disorders because they may not know how to properly address and deal with the situation that they were just in. Major constituents. So who is for this bill? People who are for this bill would be people who don't see the urgency and the importance of keeping our students and our teachers safe. There are people who believe that guns should be able to be carried freely, but they don't recognize the dangers and the effects that it could really cause. There needs to be stricter background checks and procedures such as trainings for people to be able to carry guns freely, especially assault weapons. And who is against this bill? People who understand the urgency and the importance of keeping our students and our teachers and even just regular citizens safe. There's a lot of people, especially parents, who might be nervous to send their child to school, or police officers who have to go into a school and deal with an active shooter, and we should not have to put these people in those positions anymore.
Hi everyone, my name is Yaneli, and I'll be doing approaches on gun control. So recently, there has been many people protesting on changes for policy. They're trying to reduce the gun control. They're trying to reduce less death due to the hands of gun violence. Recently, in the state of Florida, Governor DeSantis passed a bill that will go into effect on July 1st, where it will allow people to carry gun freely without it being registered or without the person being have a proper background check or have the proper application done. Unfortunately, this puts adolescents, younger kids, people who suffer from mental illness into an easier way for them to access to gun. It will be a lot harder to keep the community safe, because if this is a bill that unfortunately doesn't have the proper training, the proper background, it will be accessible for individuals to just grab the gun, and then when they have the need to go out there and kill innocent people, they will go for it. And unfortunately, we need to stop this, because that's not what we want. We want people to be living in peace without the fear of being without the fear of dying in the hands of gun violence. there also needs to be more interventions programs where it would help educate individuals. It will help educate educators in school, families, children, adolescents, and even in jail. A lot of there needs to be programs where they can identify these type of issues and what can we do to make things better. Like everyone needs to come into an agreement.
So I'm going to discuss the proposed programs. First and foremost, we need stricter gun laws. We need to raise the age to purchase a gun. We also need to conduct mental health evaluations on any individual seeking to purchase a firearm. We need to make background checks more intense and less broad, which goes hand in hand with the mental health evaluation, because background checks basically check basic criminal information, where we need to be more intense with the information that we're checking. We need to require people purchasing guns to take classes or lessons on how to properly use a gun. And at the end of the lessons or the course that they take, we should give them a test and they need to pass it. In this course, it should teach people how to care for a gun safely, where they can secure it safely, that other people can't just reach it. For example, their children or someone who shouldn't be having a gun. And most importantly, we need to ban assault weapons. Gun laws need to be more strict, like I said. Why are civilians able to purchase assault weapons or military-grade guns? We have no use for them other than to hurt people. Gun laws were not made equal when they were originally made, and they need to be updated to help the safety of our country. Proposed programs regarding schools. When discussing schools and the safety of the students and staff, there are many programs and policies that can be put into place, but the issue as a whole has to be sought out with the government. Oftentimes, a school shooter is a former or current student who is returning out of hurt and anger and is wanting to retaliate. This is inexcusable and takes us back to stricter laws. We need to prevent this from occurring. We need to make schools safer and students trust their staff and feel more comfortable. Building a cohesive and supportive school environment is key to preventing school shootings and traumatic events like other types of mass shootings. Children will feel safe to talk to each other and staff. There is a mutual trust and respect among students and school staff. There is adequate support, training, and resources for school staff, meaning that the students feel safe and welcomed, and they aren't angry towards their teachers or their students, and they feel respected themselves and like they're able to respect their teachers. And they have a safe space that if they need something to talk about or to discuss if the student feels they need to discuss something with an adult or a peer, that they feel comfortable to do so in an environment like this. The Brady Handgun Violence Protection Act, also known as the Brady Act. This was created on November 30th in 1993. The Brady Act was enacted, amending the Gun Control Act of 1968. The Brady Act is an act of the United States Congress that mandated federal background checks on firearm purchases in the United States and imposed a 5-day waiting period on purchases, meaning that your purchase was not complete until your background check comes back. In 1998, the FBI launched the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, NICS. That's what it stands for. This was created by the Brady Act. This forces firearm dealers or manufacturers, people with the licenses to sell firearms. It allows them to make everyone who wants to purchase a firearm go through a background check. But this is this is an instant background check and it comes back quicker. But they have to pass this background check before they're able to purchase the gun and transfer it over into their name.
Hello, I'm doing conclusion. For conclusion, there needs to be more gun laws that are stricter that will protect our people all over the country. The U.S. Supreme Court has upheld some firearms restrictions, such as bans on the possessions of certain types of weapons, on carrying concealed weapons. The U.S. Congress and state legislature have the power to enact controlling legislation. We also need more security measures, such as in hospital, airport, supermarket, and even church, because there's a lot of racism going on, and we see this in schools, we see this in church, and I have only seen that we get pat down, we get checked out more in when we're having courts or when we're going to the White House. This doesn't only have to be there, it has to be everywhere, to ensure that everyone is safe, to ensure that everyone is going to that place, to the location safely, and not just assume that we're being there safe. Like, we need to check if anyone has any type of weapon to make sure that we are all safe. We also need the White House, government from each state to come into an agreement together, because there are about 6 states that have different types of ideology on the right to bear arms, and these 6 states are California, Iowa, Maryland, Minnesota, New Jersey, and New York. We need to be living in peace without the idea that we will be dying, or like people having the idea that they will be dying at the hand of gun violence. Everyone needs to live in peace, and not fear that they might not come back the next day or come back home that same day. These are our citations. Thank you.